You are now entering the realm of white hot business. This is where we get real about why what happens in the bedroom and your body is a reflection of your business confidence and visibility. I'm your host, sexologist and business mentor Lauren White, and I'll guide you to become the sovereign, magnetic, and sensual woman that's available for more success and satisfaction. Access all areas. It's time to transform your business from lukewarm to white hot. Hello, and a very warm welcome to you and your white hot business. You know who I am, and I am cosmically, orgasmically turned on to introduce today's guest. She's an astrologer, copywriter, and online business strategist. She's the host of the multi-award-winning podcast, Cosmic Business Breakthrough. Her unique offerings bring together high-level marketing strategies and copywriting expertise with deep astro insights that help activate, turn on her clients to feel clear and aligned in their messaging, offers, and business timing. If you are looking for a guide to help you create a marketing strategy that feels authentic, grounded, and powerful, she is the one. She's helped dozens of online entrepreneurs uncover their unique message and launch their offers in a way that works with their innate cosmic style instead of against it. And I just happen to be one of those entrepreneurs, but in the VIP section, of course. Her name is Sophia Pallas. Welcome to White Hot Business.
Thank you for having me. I have been eagerly anticipating joining the White Hot Business. Yeah, the realm of White Hot business for some time. So this is really cool to be here.
Yes. Yeah, it's very cool. And this is, for those of you who listen to The Secrets Women Keep, Sophia was a guest on that podcast in the last season that I did, and it felt only fitting and right, and like I said, orgasmic, to bring her back on for this new iteration of the podcast with a slightly different take and frame of reference. And Sophia has been there for every step of the way when it comes to the inception of this podcast of White Hot Business. So she was the first to hear the name.
Yes.
And it got her marketing, strategic, copywriting tick of approval.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and again, it felt only fitting to bring her back on and to celebrate all of who she is and all of what she does, because it has been so instrumental in this chapter of my own work. So today, Sophia, we're going to go on such a deep dive into why astrology is a powerful tool for turn on in your business. And I would go so far as to say the most powerful tool, but we're just going to say we're going to call it a power tool. That might not feel aligned for everyone, but I think it is, if not the most, then one of the most powerful tools. And I'm going to ask that everyone put on an oxygen tank, some sort of diving mask and equipment. We are going deep, but we're going up into the stars. And Sophia always delivers the precision. How are you feeling about where we're going to deep dive into today, Sophia?
Well, it's always an adventure when I'm chatting with you, Lauren. So who knows? I'm excited to see where things might take us on this cosmic adventure. It's really funny because we were last we caught up for a podcast chat, was on my podcast, and it was about AI. And it was about how, AI can't convey our true essence, which is true. But if you use ChatGPT for any copywriting, you might notice that you're always going on a cosmic journey through this like celestial insights. And it's like, yeah. So anyway, on this cosmic journey, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? We are here for the unknown. And it's interesting because your work is very much about making the unknown known to us. And we are going to get to that in today's episode. Before we do, to let the audience know, we have been in each other's worlds for 2 years now. It's our 2-year anniversary at the time of recording. Because my Libra loves a partnership and loves to do a little dance with someone else, as you know. And as you said on your podcast episode on Cosmic Business Breakthrough, you stepped into my mentoring containers and then we switched roles. We did the old switcheroo and it was really beautiful and it's been really seamless because you've now become my business strategist and my personal cosmic guide, and how that has illuminated my identity and my business needs its whole own episode. So it's been really significant. And in that time since I first met you, when you were transitioning from copywriter into what you're doing now, I've just witnessed you make absolute magic. And you have what I see and what I experience and can say firsthand is a white hot business. Can I get... First of all, do you like that? Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
I love it. I love it. Yes.
Yes.
I think
so you've got a white hot business. And for anyone listening who needs a refresher, white hot business is a business where we get real about why what happens in the bedroom and our bodies is integral to our business confidence and visibility. And all of that is in the name of finally becoming sovereign, magnetic, and sensual as the women that we are. And above all, being the woman who stands firmly in her power and pleasure for more success and satisfaction. Sophia, can you share with us why you describe your own business as white hot, and what are some of the key ways that you make your business work for you?
This is such a delicious question to ask, to open with. So I wouldn't have, just to put it out there first up, I would not have a white hot business if I had not worked with you in the first place, because I feel like what I was doing was I was very much, when I was transitioning from, being a copywriter and a marketing advisor to becoming this kind of strategic astrological advisor, which is now what I consider myself to be. I was doing it in a very much like meek and mild kind of way. I was like, I really want to do this thing, but I don't know if people are going to like it. So I'll just kind of like walk around the edges until I get a yes, and keep doing what I'm doing. And so I kept doing what I was doing, right? I kept doing, and I kept getting sucked into bigger and bigger projects where there was where I wasn't turned on, where I wasn't feeling that I wasn't able to do what I really wanted to do, what I knew was my zone of genius, what I knew was where I felt the most expansive. And so I was doing that work because I was like, this pays the bills. And that's not a turned on business, right? That's not a white hot business. Yes, it can pay the bills, but it's also just chipping away at your soul a little bit as you go, and your spirit and your energy. So because of the work that I did with you, I was able to see, okay, and this wasn't that you advised me to let go of those things. It was just more of the internal work that I was doing on myself allowed me to go, okay, I see now that in order to step into this next version of my business, I need to let that stuff go. I need to start detangling, is that a word? Myself from the old version of Sophia and step into this more powerful, magnetic, embodied version. And there was a whole lot of stuff going on in my personal life too, which allowed that to happen. But what I have now, the way that I see my business is that I have this sort of vessel, this container that allows me to work in my zone of genius, work in something that feels really juicy and expansive and exciting to me, get paid well to do it. And I'm constantly, whatever I'm creating, I'm feeling excited by. Like, yes, there's always in business, there's admin to do, right? That's, whether we do it ourselves or we outsource the admin, there's admin to do. That's life. However, the creative work feels delicious. It has that, I know that what I'm doing, and when I'm in my zone, I know when I'm sitting with a client, there's something else happening. There's something magical, something, something juicier going on there that wasn't going on before, Yeah. So that's my kind of understanding of having this business now, and being able, I think another part of having a white hot business for me is being able to see the possibility.
Yeah.
Where before, when you're kind of in that zone of like, I'm just going through the motions with these clients, and it's not that there was anything wrong with the clients, it's that the work was not like, it wasn't exciting to me. Going through the motions in the work means that you can't see the possibilities for the business. It doesn't have its own ability to expand beyond you. You can't see that possibility of expansion.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't see that, what does the next level look like? It's not available to you because you're sort of stuck. And that's the same, I suppose, in a relationship or in the bedroom. If you're just going through the motions, you don't feel that same thing. What's possible here? What could be possible here? And I feel like that I now see that. I now see the possibilities of expansion. I obviously am a very practical person, so I still am pragmatic, so I still work on that level. It's not that goes out the window, but that side of things is more exciting to me, because knowing the step by step and knowing that I'm doing this thing to get to this point, it all feels like it's serving a bigger purpose. It feels like everything is flowing in a way that is leading to things that I want, things that I desire. Yeah. Did that answer the question?
That more than answers the question. This time I'm just sitting here with my mouth hanging open. You bloody answered the question.
Okay.
And it's a really special moment to hear you, because even though we work together and I talk to you about business, just sometimes hearing things in a summary is just a totally different experience. And just hearing you put that so succinctly, it's just I'm being a witness to it right now, and I'm kind of in awe and going, fuck yeah. And I also just had the thought, fuck, your throat has opened up so much in the last 2 years. Like seriously, fullest expression. And I'm just kind of marinating in a few of those, different feelings I'm having over here.
Awesome.
But I am with you, and you're really tapping into why women are listening to this podcast, because there is that sense of held back, going through the motions, doing what they think they should, honoring. We love the strategy, we do, but just maybe not tapping into the potential, which becomes the inevitable if we feed the magic part and if we know more of ourselves and more of our desires, to use the word that you finished on. You didn't finish a note on what I need. You said what I want and what I desire. And that's the missing piece for so many women. So I've got no doubt that already listeners have received this beautiful dose of permission just listening to you from someone who had the things and the business and the magic, the excitement, the turn on was just not doing it entirely for you. So there's more available. And now you do have that expanse. Like there's no cap on your business or your work. And that really excites me. So thank you. You more than answered the question. And we have called this episode Why Astrology is a Powerful Tool for Turn On in Your Business. And I hear that you have, or I know that you've got a cosmic toolkit that's vast, that's endless, that's expansive, to follow the thread of that word, and you're going to share generously with us today. I'm wondering, for my red-blooded listeners who have their own business, what's kind of like the first gem, the first astro cosmic gem that you can share with us about what they really need to know or should know or explore when it comes to their astrology in their business?
Okay. Well, there are a few things. I'm going to start with, I think, the rising sign, because when we're thinking about ourselves in business and our personal brand, and you and I have talked about personal brand and really showing up as that fullest expression of you. If you don't know much about your rising sign, it's very difficult for you to tap into that and for you to amplify it. And I know that we don't like, and this is a kind of Lauren terminology, we don't like to think about wearing a mask, right? And yet there's something really powerful about the mask of your rising sign. There's something really, it gives you permission to be something. So unlike your sun sign, so let's just take a step back, a little bit of astrology 101. Probably anybody listening to this knows about their sun sign, right? They were either born when, for instance, the sun was in Libra, or the sun was in Capricorn, or the sun was in Cancer, or, Scorpio, whatever you know your sun sign to be. What you may not know is that the time and place you were born is what gives you your rising sign. And that's the sign that was rising over the eastern horizon at the time you were born. It's the most personal part of your chart. It's where the earth meets the sky. So it's like this beautiful kind of moment you emerged from the womb, that. And not everyone will have an exact birth time that they know, that everybody has an exact birth time. Not everyone will know their exact birth time.
Yeah.
But you can still get a handle on your rising sign if you know within the hour. The sign will change every 2 hours, basically. But knowing your rising sign can really give you that insight and permission to show up in the way that you always wanted to show up, because it's actually your natural way of being. Like, you think, I have had a lot of clients like this. Well, I'm a Pisces, and Pisces aren't supposed to be like this. What a key example I always use is my Pisces sun sign client who has a Leo rising. So she's the kind of person who walks into a room, everybody remembers who she is. Everybody notices her, whether she wants them to or not. Doesn't matter what she's wearing. People are naturally attracted to Leo rising energy. It's like you are the light in the room. The people are moths to the flame, right? People remember you, and you're not always sure why, but it's just something. The sun is on you. It's the sign of the sun, right? Leo. Yeah. So you might have gone through life thinking, I don't really show up like a Pisces. Like, I don't get this Pisces energy. Pisces is still really important to you. It is actually where you're going in life. It's like your mission. But the rising sign is like the car you are driving in to get yourself there. So understanding that about you helps you to pour more of that into the business and pour more of that into your branding, and then allows you to be seen in that kind of more expansive way in your business, and also allows you to feel more turned on by your business, because it's like, oh, this is me. I'm allowed to be me.
Yes.
I'm really feeling that energy. I'm putting that energy out. I know it's given my clients a lot of permission to be like, oh yeah. Like, for instance, your chart, like being a Libran sun sign, but having an Aries rising, like gives you, you're like, okay, let's work. You and I have worked on this together. Let's work on that Aries, that fiery energy. Let's bring that out. And it's often a representation of our physical body as well. Like it can help us to kind of identify how our bodies work. Having that fiery energy means you have like a big kind of ignition in the body. You have like that big, like lots of energy. Aries rising people have a lot of energy. A lot of energy. There's a lot of fire.
A lot of energy and a lot of fire. One of my friends said to me once, she's like, this is a not safe for work podcast anyway, but she goes, do you fuck standing up? Like, basically what she was saying is, you have so much energy. Do you ever fucking stop? Do you ever fucking lie down? Do you ever
okay.
Like, oh, I love you. But to bring it back, like it's been a major permission granted, because I knew the Libra part, which is very harmonious and values that fairness and that, all the things,
partnership, justice,
partnerships, all those love, all those beautiful things. But I felt like it didn't totally. I knew it just didn't totally capture all of me. I knew I wasn't just quote unquote just a Libra. I knew that there was more, and the Aries has been really illuminating to go, oh, this is why I'm a quick starter and I love fire, and I feel like fire sometimes. I actually feel fire in my body. And just bringing it into the business very specifically with precision, and writing down one of the things that I've done with Sophia, which I cannot recommend enough, is we literally wrote down what my Aries wants to do in my business, what my Libra wants to do in my business, just all the ways that the different signs, planets, and positioning wants to work on the business, and just seeing it in a one-page document like that was just so illuminating to go, my Aries wants to do this, my Gemini wants to do that, my Libra wants to do this. So I'm with you. Knowing your rising is it's an illuminator beyond your sun. Your sun sign's amazing, and it's that specificity that's missing if you only know your sun sign.
Yeah, and it does bring this extra illumination to your brand and to those parts of you like that you can really kind of sink your teeth into when it comes to your business. Like,
and you're a good example too. You're a Taurus rising, and you have like the jewels and like the velvet kind of back, like the green, emerald green velvet, textures on your website, and very Taurian, right? Very Venus, Venusian.
That's it. And when you start to look into that part of your chart, you can be like, oh, yeah, that makes total sense. Like, I never thought about it like that, but that's actually, those are the things that turn me on. Those are the things that I gravitate to. And interestingly, particularly if you have, a Venus ruled chart. So I have Taurus is ruled by Venus. So Venus is going to also show you what turns you on in business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're also going to look to your ruling planet. So you don't only look to your rising sign, but you look then to the planet that rules that sign as the guide. So we would look
Mm.
to, for your chart with an Aries rising, we would look to Mars. And where is Mars?
Yes, Mars.
And
Yes,
Mars is also in a fire sign in your chart. It's in Sagittarius. And then we look, okay, what does Sagittarius have to say about, about your business? And this is where we come to this whole like getting really excited again, because the Sagittarius energy wants to take things further. It wants to explore. It wants to expand. It wants to teach. It wants to speak on stages.
Yes.
It wants to be seen. It wants to preach the good word.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And it wants to get on a plane and do that.
Yeah.
On the
And it wants to travel. It wants to explore and all of that stuff.
Yes.
So you're really tapping into what's really driving you in life. But of course, what's driving us in life is what's driving us in business, right?
Yes.
You can't extricate the two. Like
No.
they're completely connected. So that's why I look specifically at your personal astrology chart as opposed to just looking at your business chart, which I think that's a whole other episode. But, you can look at a business chart for sure, and it gives you extra insight into the business. But
sorry, just to pause, is that you looking at the day and the time that the business was birthed?
Yes.
We haven't done that. We haven't done that.
That's
new terrain.
That's a next layer. And it's difficult to do that because some people don't really know when exactly their business was born, because it's often like a bit of an evolution, right? When did you launch your website, or when did this idea come to you? Like you can use different times, so it can be a little bit of a difficult thing to pin down. But if you do know, if you have some people have a really good idea. This is when I had the idea, exact time, all that stuff. Awesome. We can definitely look into that. But
I love that.
You still look into that for, what does my business want? But at the end of the day, your business, even though it's separate from you, it's created by you. So you have to come back. In order to have a turned on business, it needs to turn you on. It needs to be connected to your vision for your life, your goals, your values, all of that stuff.
Yes, could not agree more. So, and it's just been incredible coming back to my birth chart again and again and again, and cross-referencing it with what my body says, where the goosebumps are at, what's happening in the current timing. It's just such an incredible process, and I'm just having, above all, so much fun with it. It's so enjoyable. It's so enjoyable. So I love what you've shared about the rising sign, and I think that will land with so many people who've just gone, but I don't fit the classic Scorpio. I don't fit the classic Taurus, and it just adds that different perspective. And remember, put it in the context of your business and your branding and how you show. Have I got it right in saying your rising sign is really integral to how you show up in your business?
How you show up. Absolutely. It is the car it's like the car that you're driving.
Okay.
It's like, how you are physically presenting on your path to your mission, which is your sun sign, the way to your destination, which is the sun
got
sign.
it. So find out your rising sign. Like me, I don't know my exact birth time, but I have a window, and I would say that window is right based on it's because it's not Taurus later on, and I am not Pisces. No. Definitely Aries. So just try and get the window if you can. Yeah. And even if you can't get the exact time, ask if someone knows the window. And so that's our rising sign. And now let's shift gears to a source of influence that we all talk about, whether just in passing or on a really deep level, and we work with it. Let's talk about the moon. What has the moon, like, we know about it in terms of like the context of cycles and full moon, and maybe even cross-referencing it with our menstrual cycle. But when it comes to our business, what should we know about the moon and how it connects to us personally?
Okay, well, the moon is, I think, probably, I don't want to say the most important sign to consider, but it is, well, it's the top 3, right?
It's the top. We're in the top 3. It's all
Sun, moon, and
interchangeable.
rising. But the moon sign is something that's often overlooked, and it's so, so important to understanding yourself and to those subconscious things that are happening and driving your behavior and driving your not only your relationships in life, but your relationships in business, and what you're trying to do and what you're trying to emotionally get from your business as well, because we are all trying to get something emotionally from our business. Like, I think if we aren't, we're kind of robots, right? There is some sort of desire within us. There's some sort of emotion that our business is evoking for us. So connecting with your moon sign, the moon in astrology represents our physical body, which is why we are affected by the moon physically. But it also represents our emotional body, our sense of our feelings, and our subconscious reactions. So the moon sign will show you how you are before you've had time to filter yourself. So before you've had time to think, your moon reacts.
I'm just laughing because I know yours is Libra. I know mine's Gemini, and I'm going, yep, it's so bang on. It's so bang on.
Yeah. So this is really key for me when I started to understand my moon sign, because I was like, my first reaction is to people please before I've even had time to think about it.
Yeah.
Because my moon sign wants harmony.
Yes.
Emotionally, I want harmony. I want peace, right? But so the first reaction is always going to be to keep the peace, whatever way that is, and that can be people pleasing. And that's a really good thing to know about yourself, because obviously in business, you don't want to be amplifying that kind of negative, the potential negative side of your moon.
Yeah.
You want to be aware of it so you can keep yourself in that equilibrium so that you're not dipping into that emotional reactivity.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing? And you're not allowing that subconscious pattern to run your business for you.
Yes,
instead of you being in charge.
Yes. And this is like what I'm just listening to you speak. I'm also hearing this is the shadow work part of what you need to, what you're invited to do in your business. And as I like to say, it's never really about the thing that happens. It's about, well, at least when you're aware, when you bring it all to the surface, you then have the power of choice to know that, this thing was about to play out. But if I can pause, as to use your words, if I can recenter myself, what action do I want to choose next? What's in alignment? What's in integrity? What kind of outcomes do I want for the business? Because for as long as anything shadowy is running your business without without the power of your intervention, then we have a problem. We have a problem because it's an energy drain, it's a power leak, it's a pleasure leak, and it ends in the story of some sort of breakdown, like, why is this happening? Why? And it's like, we need to go to the patterning. So I'm really glad you put it in that frame of reference, because I think I'm with you. It's like, rising sun's most important. No, the moon is most important. They're all important.
They're all important. But I guess we can think about it like, I tend to think about it like the planets closest to us are going to have the most impact because they're closest to us. Like, they literally physically affect us the most.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about that, obviously the moon is the closest to us.
Yeah.
So it's going to have the most impact on us physically and emotionally compared with the other planets, which we can kind of almost get more self-awareness of those parts, the moon sign is the part that we really need to be able to kind of step back, because it plays out in us every day without us realizing it most of the time. It is our subconscious patterns, right? And what it's seeking, it's always looking for that some sort of emotional. It's got some sort of emotional pattern that it is seeking out every day. So if you can be aware of your moon sign, and again, the moon moves fast. So the moon changes signs throughout the month. It's obviously going to go through all 12 zodiac signs in the course of a month. So if you don't know the time of your birth around about the time, sometimes the moon will have changed signs too. So it's another reason why it's important to know the time. But you can be fairly confident if you know if you were born in the morning or at night, then you'll know where the moon was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to change sign every 1.5 to 2 days. So that's something to be aware of if you're at the changeover point,
Yeah.
But the moon sign is going to tell you what's going on subconsciously, what you're really seeking emotionally from your business, from your partnerships and collaborations, even in business, from even your client relationships, because that dynamic is playing out in all of the ways, right? So consider that and look at, for instance, if you have an air sign moon, you and I both have air sign moons. So forgetting about just the zodiac specific, the sign specific things, air sign moons are looking for communication. There is an emotional connection with communicating.
Yeah.
We need to be able to talk out our feelings, right? We have to, there is some sort of intellectualizing of the feelings in some way. So if we can't talk out our feelings, we feel very frustrated.
Very pent up.
And very pent up. And that's the thing. You need to acknowledge that about yourself, because otherwise you're going to feel really frustrated in business.
Yes.
If you don't have a way to communicate that. And that is going to affect your turn on.
Yes.
So knowing that, yes, go on.
Yeah. My question to you is, if we know that about ourselves, how important is it that we take care of that aspect in our personal life first, so that it doesn't become shadowy in our business?
Exactly.
I feel like
very.
Okay. Is it very? It's very important.
It's very important. It's very important that you know that you take action on that in your personal life, and you make sure that the things around you that you need to give you that sense of emotional equilibrium are happening. It's just it's the whole self-care talk, right? Make sure that your cup is full. Make sure that you are doing the things and having the things support around you so that moon sign is happy. But also acknowledging that when you're in business, you will get triggered by stuff. There will be stuff. It is that playground of personal growth, right?
Yeah.
All of our shit is going to come up in business. So when that happens, if you know your moon sign is going to react, it's going to want to react in this way, this is the first reaction I'm probably going to have. It doesn't mean you're going to stop that reaction in its tracks. It means you're going to be able to get more perspective on what's actually happening, because you can have the emotions around it, and then you can stand back and go, okay, now what am I going to need to bring myself back to center again before I go and respond to this situation? So you're not responding in that heightened state. It's almost again, what does your particular nervous system need in order to calm, in order to take the next step without in that aligned way, instead of it feeling like this really crunchy, uncomfortable thing that is definitely not turning you on at all.
Yeah. 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 Good
Because
way of putting it.
so often I think we do things like, for instance, and I'll use myself as an example here, with a Libra moon, the first instinct, the first impulse, emotional impulse, is to people please. So if somebody objects to something that you're doing, you may react immediately with the trying to keep the peace. And that might be like, I need to lower my price, or I need to do this thing that they've said that they want. But if you can kind of allow that moment and then come back and go, actually, this is what I felt that I needed to do, but do I really need to do that? And kind of then step back, maybe back into your sun sign power and go, actually, is that the best move for my business and my mission? Probably not. So let's reset and try that again. Get yourself back to calm, get yourself back into that emotional balance again, and then take the next step.
Mm.
And that's going to be much more powerful, but also it's going to feel so much better.
Oh, it's going to feel pleasurable. It feels pleasurable because power is pleasure. So taking, something I say is stop chasing control when what you actually want is power. And this is why I say this is such an incredible power tool for your business, because it gives you the power back. If you don't know what's happening and you're being run by something else, then you're being controlled when what you actually want is control, which is really power. Deep down,
yes.
we go underneath its power. So I am frothing over this, because even though I've worked with you, again, it's the same thing I said at the beginning, just hearing things in this really succinct way. It's like, I'm going bam, bam, okay, I get it. And I've realized you've added another layer to my shadow work that I thought I knew really well, and you've just added another thing. And I just had a few my own aha moments in here. I was like, that's why I'm obsessed with messaging. I am obsessed with messaging. I love messaging being a part of my work. Like, I love bouncing messages back and forth. So obsessed. I literally sat there in 2020 and go, how can I just make messaging messaging people back and forth a big part of my business? Because I love it. I love the meeting of the minds and the back and forth.
Such a Gemini. Yeah, such a Gemini moon thing. And that's it. And that's it. It gives us that, it fills our cup. Like I said, that is the energy that fills your cup. So if you know your moon, you will know what fills your cup. Yes. I can give you a few other examples if you want some moon sign examples for people.
Yes, I'd love some examples. And I just want to share, before you share the examples, I also had to ask myself, when I realized that, how can I get more of that in my personal life as well? I just want to add that in there. It wasn't just, it definitely was first and foremost about, I go, business, how can I get this in business? And now I've realized, as I gather friends along the way, I go, what is it? And it's because we just bounce messages back and forth, and it's that really witty, really fast, like just really own language. I love all of that. And so I've just been like, when I've got a meeting of the minds and I can bounce back and forth, and I'm married to someone with a Gemini moon, which is so good, because the way that we bounce messages back and forth, that's a big part of our intimacy. It really does fill my cup. So thank you. Yes, I just wanted to add that, look at it personally and look at it, look at both. Don't just only look at trying to get everything you desire from professional, because from business, then it can get shadowy. But yeah, can you give us a few examples of how some different moons might show up in business?
Okay. Well, a Taurus moon, for instance, like the moon is really happy in Taurus, but Taurus moon people love their food. They love their sensuality. They love their security. Like, it's very much about, they love their home. And if you've got a Taurus moon, you feel very triggered if you ever feel unstable. If things feel unstable in your business, like, it's very difficult for Taurus moons to operate on that kind of boom-bust business cycle. And it's often why people with a Taurus moon will stay in their job much longer than they should, because they don't like that boom bust cycle, because it makes them feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And this is where a little bit like of compassion can come into it too, because sometimes, especially in business, when we're working with other people in business and we don't understand that part of them, we can be like, well, why don't you just do it already?
Yeah.
You know? But if you've got a Taurus moon, it's really hard to do that. That feels super uncomfortable. So you've got to make sure you've got the buffer, like the security blankets, the, feeling of feeling comfortable is so important, and in all the ways. It's also like feeling comfortable at home, having luxurious things, but also having money in the bank.
Yeah.
That's really important. What's another example? If you've got, let's think of a water sign.
Pisces
moon. So if you've got a Pisces moon, there's a real, this is a very watery moon, obviously, and there's a lot of compassion in there, a lot of empathy. So Pisces moon people can feel very overwhelmed by people's emotions because it's like it's all coming at them, right? Like they can really feel the emotion in ways that the other signs cannot. They're not feeling the weight of people's emotions. So a Pisces moon just needs to be very careful thinking about their energetic boundaries, especially in business, because we often, can feel pulled in different directions by people's emotions, and Pisces moon people are very empathetic. So it's really important for you to set some energetic boundaries around how you work with clients, but also for you to acknowledge that there needs to be empathy in your work. There needs to be emotional connection with your clients. Like you're not just like that. It's not, your style is not like a pragmatic Capricorn style, which is like, I'm just going to do this job for you. You need to feel connected emotionally to someone, and you need to have, there needs to be also some room for creativity, for imagination, for dreaming. Those kinds of things fill your cup too. Like making time, especially time to be alone. Like making time to daydream is actually like something that can be really powerful for someone with a Pisces moon.
I love that. And your podcast, you have such an incredible podcast. Would you recommend that we connect with, for example, the episode on Pisces that you've done on the specific sign, or do you have a podcast episode that's on the moons and how they influence? Yep. Okay, great.
I do. I have both. So I'm currently partway through my Zodiac business series. So that's only coming out every few weeks. So I haven't done all of the Zodiac signs yet individually. However, I do have a podcast episode on managing your moon sign specifically. So I'll give you the link to that episode, and you can kind of get a bit more juice about that. But I think especially if you're doing launches in your business or some sort of high energy, high emotional investment activity, managing your moon is going to be super important.
Yeah.
So I talk about that also in my episode on supercharging your launches, I think it's called. I'll have to find the link. But having more powerful launches, working with your moon is really important.
Okay, I am going to be in Voxer after this asking questions because I need to I need to go deeper with this one. Thank you. I love that. So just to recap, we've looked at your rising sign and how it influences your branding, how you show up, the energy with which you are visible. We've talked about your moon sign and that as a representation of your emotional landscape, even some of your shadows, your subconscious, your unconscious, and how that can be the initial reaction that you have, especially to something challenging in business. And my God, if something's going to show up, show all your stuff, it's running a business.
Yes.
So know your moon sign and you'll know why you respond, or get more insight as to why you respond the way that you respond when something challenging comes up in business. and how it is that you want to do business and how it turns you on. What would you say is the third final, just as important piece for women in business to be attuned to?
Okay, well, I'm not going to talk about the sun sign today, even though it is really important. Most people have an understanding of their sun sign, but what I will say is something that is really important, certainly with the work that you and I do and the work that I do with other clients, is really knowing what's going on up there in the sky, in the cosmos at the moment, and how that energy is affecting you personally. Because as we talked about with the moon, we know we have evidence that the moon affects us, right? The moon affects the earth. We know the moon affects the tides. We know there's studies that the moon affects the water content in our bodies and our brains, and how that can impact our mood and all of that stuff. We know that, emergency departments get full at a full moon. We know that the moon affects us. So by that same idea, that same concept, why wouldn't the other planets also have an impact on us and our own, energetic blueprint that is our birth chart? So it's all about how those planets are affecting our own cosmic energy, right? So with that in mind, you don't have to know day by day every transit, although sometimes that's fun to know. You have a horoscope app. I always talk about the Chani app. I absolutely love that app.
Incredible human and astrologer.
An incredible person. So if you don't know what we're talking about, check out the Chani app.
Yep, CHANI, and follow them on Instagram as well.
Yes, that's by the astrologer Chani Nicholas, and it's just a way to keep track of what's going on in your chart and the cosmos. But you can also find out more about, what's generally going on, even if you just sit with an astrologer once a year. If you just do a forecast, an annual forecast reading, and you come along and you go, okay, this is me. What's going on for me this year? I know in my own life, even as an astrologer, that has been hugely powerful to have somebody else kind of have that oversight of oh yes, this is you, this is your chart, this is what planets are going to be impacting that, this is what you should look out for. These are the big things to know about your year ahead or the next couple of years even. These are the themes that are coming up for you. And so I would really recommend that you look into that. You can listen to an annual forecast. You can sit with an astrologer, because there are things if we're looking at, in terms of your business, you're going to want to know, for instance, where Jupiter is at, because Jupiter might be bringing you opportunities, right? Jupiter is often bringing us opportunities. And if we don't know where it is, we can't participate and make the most of those opportunities.
Yes.
So, Saturn is also another one you really want to know about. What's Saturn activating for you? Because Saturn is our lesson planet. It's our teacher planet. It's bringing us lessons. It's helping us restructure. It's helping us to create stronger foundations. And again, if we don't know where that's happening for us, we don't know how to participate in it. We don't know what needs to be up-leveled in our life or business.
Yes, it's leveraging, this is what I've learned, it's leveraging what is, and it's that awareness just brings this softening so that you don't personalize it. I've just found, I go, but in the same breath, I'm not totally externalizing it, going, oh, it's just this happening. It's this sense of participation. It's okay, and I can just pause now and tap into this cross-reference of my cycle, what's going on astrologically because you've informed me or you've given me a heads up, and how it's specific to me, because what I've learned is not everything naturally affects everyone in the same way. You can't just give some big sweeping, this is happening, and everyone is impacted in the same way. No, it depends on, you've got to cross-reference it with your personal birth chart, and that's where it gets, that's where you need that support and that illumination from someone who lives and breathes this, because I find it still boggles my mind in the best possible way. So,
Yes.
yeah, yes.
Yeah. So that is the third thing that I would absolutely recommend you look into for more turn on in your business, because knowing this, like you say, like it just kind of allows you to breathe and go, okay, this is happening.
It really does.
Okay, and I'm going to flow with that energy. I'm going to participate. I'm going to enjoy this energy. Like, I'm going to enjoy this instead of being derailed by it as it comes like bulldozes you.
Yeah, totally.
Like, we won't mention the Venus retrograde of 2023, but like
that's the Voldemort, that which we do not speak of. I never want to talk about that retrograde again. I will never. To give a bit of insight, I've got a lot of Venus in my chart, and I literally, my daughters say the word, literally. Yeah. I struggled to feel pleasure. I could not, I lost my pleasure compass. I was like, nothing looks beautiful. Nothing feels beautiful enough. It's like, I'm putting lipstick on, but I can't see I cannot explain how all-encompassing that was. And I just lost my compass, because when I lose beauty, I lose turn on, I lose arousal, I lose life. And I was just bereft. I was like, nothing in my business was beautiful enough. It was like, to use a really crass term, it was like putting glitter on a turd. I can try and just put more glitter on, but everyone knows that there's still a turd underneath. But this is all my stuff, and I just felt lost. So it was, but not everyone would have experienced Venus retrograde.
Not everyone feels it in the same way, as you say. But yes, that, like, if you know that that's there, then you can kind of be like, okay, this little phase that I'm in right now will end.
Yes.
Like, okay, what do I need to know about this right now?
Yeah.
And how can I work with it and know that it's going to come to an end soon?
Yeah.
And, it helps you. Like, I love it because obviously it helps you to plan, but it helps you to go and relax. I mean, like, okay, this is happening, but it's going to end. Or I can look forward to this thing that's going to come. And what opportunities am I going to make happen when this thing comes around? How am I going to make the most of this?
Yeah.
That brings me pleasure in my business too. Just thinking about those things and how I can kind of work with that energy in a positive way.
Yeah.
And help other people to work with that energy in a positive way too.
Yeah, totally. It's been very, it's been so great to me as someone who, Aries rising, just wants to go almost all the time. I want, as I said, I want it done yesterday. Like a go, let's pull this out. Let's do it now. Very much, and my brain is like, loves dopamine. It's like, yes, I want this. But what I've been finding with working with you is it has been that green light to go. Yes, you're on. And it's like, there's an amber light coming up, just so you know. Okay, cool. And then I look and I go, and I actually have been improving in that sense of allowing the energy to flow a little bit more when I do have all of that fire and almost no earth and no water in my chart. So it's been very little, I should say, very little, bit of Scorpio.
Yes.
So I cannot recommend this last part enough to either work with Sophia one-to-one, get a deep dive 90-minute session with her. And there's also another offer that you have that flows so beautifully from what you're saying, and that's is it called the Cosmic Business Planner? Is that what it's called?
Oh, I have an annual plan, which is the Cosmic Business Breakthrough Plan that you can join us, and we have quarterly astrology activations, and you get all of the transits, the big transits for the year, like the planet movements, and some extra stuff thrown in there to help you understand the themes of your year and those big things and how they're impacting your chart. So that's more of like a done kind of with you, or almost like a DIY version of if you sit with me for a few hours and we go and plan out your year together, or the type of work that we do together.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. That's available.
Yeah, that is. So I would say do both. Do it all, take it all, grab it all, run with it all. Just do everything Sophia has on offer, because it will give you, it's been the theme of today, will give you the permission that you need personally, professionally, to step into more ownership, which organically brings more power and more pleasure in your life. And I've been like, I'm just immensely, immensely grateful. I have a final question for you, Sophia. What would you say to anyone listening who wants a white hot business, or, as you know, my pinnacle offer is climactic? If they want a white hot business, if they want to be climactic, but they're feeling like they're held back, they can only do things a certain way, cerebral, constructed, kind of, a little bit more buttoned up, what would you say to anyone who is circling that opportunity for themselves, but is struggling to take that next step?
Well, I guess you've got to come back to what you're making a priority and what you're choosing in business. I think that's what I had to decide for myself is, am I choosing to keep this feeling hard? Am I enjoying this feeling hard in some way? Am I getting some sort of benefit out of it, or am I ready to prioritize something else? Am I ready to feel more powerful? Like, that was really what I asked myself before working with you. And that is something that I ask myself regularly now. Am I ready to feel more powerful, more in my authority, more, am I ready to feel more pleasure out of my business? Like, you prompt me to think about that often. So that's what I would say to anybody who's thinking about it themselves, is like, first of all, what are you not choosing? Like, what are you letting keep going in your life or business because, maybe you're getting something out of it feeling hard? And what could you choose instead? Like, what would feel better for you? And are you ready for it to feel better?
Yes. Yes. Great questions. Are you ready for it to feel better? Better than this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to let that one hang in the air. Thank you so much, Sophia. Thank you so much. And that is just such a perfect note to end on, because we're hearing the shadow, we're hearing the illumination, we're hearing the sense of possibility that you tapped into at the beginning of the episode, and it all just feels like such a beautiful cosmic orgasm that has happened on today's episode.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're going to put all of the links in the show notes, but just quickly, where can people find you? Where can people send you a message to share what they loved about today's episode?
Yeah, well, please reach out on Instagram. At Sophia Pallas is my handle. And yeah, connect with me there. I have the podcast, have a YouTube channel, a fledgling YouTube channel, and I will share a resource with your listeners, which you alluded to at the beginning. And actually, I haven't told you about this yet, but I have a cosmic business toolkit that I would like to share with anyone listening to this episode. And it will give you kind of a little bit of an insight into what we talked about today and what you can look at, and some questions that you can start asking yourself to incorporate more of your unique astrology into your business.
Oh, thank you for the surprise and delight at the end. That was lovely. Excellent. Awesome. Okay, go claim it. Go claim it all. Sophia Pallas, thank you. I bow down. Thank you. Thank you. And for all of your pearls of wisdom, and You are the climactic woman. You have a white hot business, and thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you know speaking needs to be a bigger part of your business, but you're feeling blocked from taking action to get more speaking opportunities, I'm hosting a workshop especially for you. In 90 minutes, I'll show you exactly how to make speaking an exciting and profitable pillar of your business when it's historically felt daunting or anxiety-provoking. What I've specifically done to become a better speaker and establish myself as an authority long before I had a podcast or got paid speaking gigs, and what you can do too. How to spot aligned speaking opportunities and become a guest or contributor that hosts and organisers can't say no to. How to position and amplify yourself as a speaker in your business right now, and energetic practices to open your throat so that you can express yourself with power, clarity, and full body alignment. To design your unique path to speaking with power and pleasure in your business, check out the link in the show notes and sign up today.